You're listening to Exploring Anime with Friends, a JoeMama for Real podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all major podcasting networks. I'm your host, JoeMama! And today's friend is my wife and co-host, Sarah. How's it going today, Sarah?
Hi, everyone. It's going pretty good.
Awesome. Are you excited about today's episode?
I am extra excited about today's episode.
Today will be a special edition episode. We won't actually be doing a movie. We'll be doing something that is located on another platform. This comes to you right from Hulu, and it's one of the shows that we covered in our top 5 episode of 2024 new releases. Woo. It is Go Go Loser Ranger. One that made both of our lists and we both had a lot of fun with. So yeah, today we will be exploring the world of Go Go Loser Ranger, a sci-fi action adventure featuring a villain protagonist, released in April of 2024. First, we will be laying the groundwork of this world of Go Go Loser Ranger. Then we will meet our protagonist, Fighter D, and learn about all of his little quirks and what really makes him tick. After that, we will learn some about all the different sides and factions that are going on, because this is definitely not straightforward. 4 or 5 sides in play at the same time, with Fighter D seemingly on his own side the whole time. Finally, we will take a look at some of what Fighter D had to go through when he switched places with Hibiki and became part of the Ranger Patrol. All right, Sarah, so talk to us a little bit about this. What happened 13 years ago, and then we'll move it up to the present day.
So before I jump into that, I just need to point out, it's actually Disney. We watched it on Hulu, but we watched it because of the Disney Plus package, probably.
Really?
I just learned that.
Okay, so we watched it on Hulu, but you can watch it on Hulu or Disney Plus.
So back to the fun show. So it's set in a world where 13 years ago, a group of basically aliens tried to just take over Earth, and they got, obliterated badly by the Dragon Keepers, which is pretty much the Power Rangers. So because of that, every Sunday, there's basically a live beatdown.
Man, I gotta stop you for a moment, because the Power Rangers were actually good guys, weren't they?
Well, okay, that's fair. That's fair. From the public's perspective, though, these are the good guys.
From the public's perspective, they're the good guys, I guess, right?
We learned very quickly that this is not true. So there's this, it's not necessarily staged, but it's a staged performance, and the public just eats it up, and they think it's real.
Yeah, so the boss monsters got defeated, or were allegedly defeated 13 years in the past, and the Dragon Keepers were like, yeah, no, you're going to do it this way. You're going to make us look good every single Sunday, and you're going to throw us a new boss that we've never seen before that threatens the people. And then, we're going to put you down, and if you basically don't want us hunting all of you down with our divine artifacts, then this is the life you're going to leave. So every Sunday, faithfully, people gather in this great auditorium that's right below the alien ship.
Beautiful arena.
Yeah, they come to see what new threat the aliens have for the planet, and ultimately to see how the Power Rangers... how the Dark Power Rangers... how the Dragon Keepers destroy this new threat. And meanwhile, the aliens are they're living in the ship up above. This is all the minions.
It's just the minions.
We are
There's
watching
no
the
boss.
minions. They were basically born right before the invasion happened.
Born created something like that.
Yeah, it's some weird, wacky Deadpool sort of antics. It's like, hey, wait, who are you? Who am I? Who are we doing? What's going on?
And then,
some Abbott and Costello sort of stuff.
In
that scene.
I want to point out, though, the reason it works is because every time they're called dusters. We call them fighters as well sometimes. Every time they die, they just get dusted away and reincarnated back to their ship.
Back to their ship, or where the wind takes them. Theory, they can get reincarnated where the wind takes them.
That's fair.
It's just they all decide to go back to the ship. Most of them do, at any rate, because that's where it's safe.
That's where it's they're not going to get hunted there. They have to
play the game. Most of them have resigned to the fact, this is our lives now. This is the role we play. Mm-hmm. They come up with some cool monster every single week so that the Dragon Keepers can battle something cool. The opening episode, they're battling this Tiger truck.
I almost lost it on this first episode. I was kind of casually watching it, and immediately when this thing came on the screen, I was immediately like, what on earth is this?
Right? Talk to us about that Tiger truck.
I mean, it claimed to be what was it?
the embodiment
Thank you.
of all the anguish of taggers on the earth.
I lost it. It had my full attention, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the craziest parody I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it comes so much across like a parody or humor.
It
right,
definitely
right
starts
from
that
the
way.
beginning.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh wow, this is like a conspiracy. Too.
No, it gets deep quick.
Like I called it an action adventure, but because there's a lot of action and there's an adventure that
Agreed.
they're on, you could easily call this a comedy, but you could also
at the
easily
beginning,
call it
yes.
a conspiracy too. So there's elements of all of that in there, and it really just makes for a excellent blend. Like it really does a lot. And this is where we're at. The aliens are coming down every Sunday to battle the Dragon Keepers, and this Sunday where the whole thing starts, Fighter D decides enough is enough.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he's done. He's done playing the part. He's done acting out. He's either going to invade or die trying. So instead of reincarnating back on his ship, being dusted back to his ship, he goes where the wind takes him. And he takes on a human form. And this is the birth of Fighter D. Talk to us a little bit about Fighter D as a whole, Sarah.
I love Fighter D first things first. He is my favorite. But he's the main character. So
Excellent protagonist.
He's an amazing protagonist. So as Fighter D, he was just like living his life being Fighter D. But then they can change the way they look, which is great for that like showdown they do every Sunday. So finally he's like, I'm gonna turn into a human. So he just changes into a human. He's kind of like approaching the Sunday showdown thing, and he's stopped by 2 Ranger cadets. Is that Dragon Keeper cadets? What do we call them again?
Yeah, Dragon Keeper cadets. Well, actually, one of them one of them is a cadet, and one of them is a Dragon Keeper in training. One of them is a white uniform. The other one's a yellow uniform, and she's actually the second in command. We'll get back to them in a little bit.
So as he's just walking around human, they're like, "You should join the Rangers," and he's like, I should join the Rangers? And it's really like kind of, I don't know, I would have been put off by them. They were obnoxious as far as I'm concerned the first time you see them. They were very insistent. But he just rolls with it. He's like, I can join the Rangers. I can totally do that. And he dives into it.
Right before that, you're seeing how he's a very disgruntled being at this point in time.
Yeah.
Because as everyone is going to trying to make, he refuses to become the transform into the boss monster, because obviously they have shapeshifting too. He's done. Like, he's so tired of it. He just wants something different. He wants to be free. He kind of wants to kick butt and take names, too.
I mean, they've been doing this for 13 years. I'd get tired of it pretty quick, too.
It's a pretty awful way that they more or less had to surrender. Like,
they literally have to lose every week.
The Keepers call it living in peace. You know, the truth is, it's imprisonment.
Yeah.
They're imprisoned in their own place, and they have to do their only commitment is they have to do one certain thing a week. But ultimately, it serves to humiliate them and remind them that, they failed.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's disgruntled, he's done, and he wants to take revenge on everyone. But then he quickly realizes that's very difficult if he can't actually work his way up through the Ranger ranks. He takes on the form of Hibiki, the redheaded boy one of the ones that tries to recruit him, and he goes into the red base with Yumiko, the yellow second in command. And as they're in the red base, he realizes very quickly that it's like, oh man, these guys can snuff me out very quickly. Mm-hmm. And Yumiko actually saves him multiple times. And when they get out to safety, she's like, yeah, no, you're not Hibiki.
Yeah.
But I don't mind you taking his place this time around, because you're going to be part of my master plan too. And this is where you suddenly start to realize that, oh wow, there's a lot more going on.
Webs within webs.
And meanwhile, Hibiki is listening to the conversation that Fighter D is having with Yumiko, and he confronts Fighter D afterwards, and he's kind of like, I don't think you really want to destroy everyone. I think what you want is change. He's like, I want change too. There is corruption amongst the Dragon Keepers, and I want to reform the Dragon Keepers and make them into something that I can be proud of.
Yeah.
Through that exchange, him and Dee decide that they're going to change places for a little bit. His background story really just kind of resonates, and you start to realize that Dee has feelings, is capable of an emotional spectrum. When Hibiki tells the story about how he lost his parents and how his sister became, paralyzed from the waist down because a supposed god, which turns out to be a boss monster, did that to them, and Dee starts to realize, oh wow, there's It's like, because D has no love for the boss monsters.
Yeah, because
they left.
they're
Like,
gone, they're dead, they're gone.
but D's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. He's like, I'll take your place. I'll go through your cadet training, and you do what you're gonna do as me. He makes him a mask, and the two of them exchange places. So at this point in time, D is almost on a bit of a soul search. Talk to us a little bit about that, Sarah.
I mean, it's actually pretty neat seeing D go from I want to kill everyone to
I'll spare you.
I want my allies, not friends necessarily, but I want certain people to be safe.
Yeah, it really kind of takes a morph to an extent that, and we'll talk a little bit about this, but you see him go from a confused and lost, almost like little kid, with an open mind. And as D is experiencing things, his worldview is changing. Like, honestly, how much better would it be if there was more people like D in the world today?
Yeah, no, seriously.
He's not hyper-fixated on the only thing that he's ever known, so he's going to charge that way. He's allowing his circumstances to mold his worldview.
His perception changes, definitely.
Obviously, we mentioned before that he quickly realizes there's multiple sides, and we'll get back to Yumiko in a moment. But if you like what you're hearing so far, I definitely recommend that you watch this for yourself on Hulu or Disney Plus. It's the Hulu and Disney Plus have some really good anime on them, so I definitely would advise you do that. And remember to also follow us on social media, like, subscribe, and follow. We appreciate the listens, we appreciate the views, and we appreciate you tuning in every single week. All right, so Yumiko, talk to us a little about her and her agenda. Or, I mean, I know it's very vague, but
it is vague.
she's clearly going after something specifically.
I mean, she's honestly, like, she is intense. And the first time you see her, she's not. She's very one-dimensional, but then suddenly you're like, oh.
A little flirtatious the first time.
A little, yeah. But then suddenly she's like, oh, she has an agenda against the Dragon Keepers. And I honestly, if you want to take that one, because I honestly don't remember, like, what was the build-up? Like,
well, she wants that's the whole thing. It came out of nowhere, but it made sense. She wants the divine artifacts. The Dragon Keepers fight with divine artifacts, and she is trying to orchestrate things to where if the Dragon Keepers can end up dead, then that's a bonus. If the boss monster's can end up dead, that might be a bonus. But like even then, like she allowed a boss monster, and yeah, spoiler alert, the boss monsters aren't dead.
Well, not all of them, at least. We don't know what extent.
They're in hiding. We don't know to what extent. But we know she's collecting the divine artifacts. And we know that she's manipulating things to where ultimately she can seize control. We don't know what her agenda is. She gives off big bad boss final vibes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, multiple people in this show give off big bad boss final vibes.
You're right about that.
Let's talk about the Dragon Keepers.
Oh my gosh.
Since we're talking about those vibes.
Oh my goodness.
Talk to us about Red.
Oh, Red. He's everything you would think he would be if he's a bad guy, basically. He's manipulative.
Words that I don't want to say on this show because I try to keep this show as clean as possible.
I'm not going to use those words.
I hate him.
He is terrible. Are we doing spoilers right now, or
we're not going to spoil the final episode? But there is one point in time where someone dies, and he's like, "Oh, that's such a shame. That person was so useful to me in this way."
Yeah, and it's not even a way that was like helpful or good. It was like the visible aspect, basically. And I'm like, what? How terrible are you? You just lost someone, and you're not even sad.
Yeah, and he's the first one to remind the Dusters that, hey, this is the way it's going to be, or I'm going to slay you with the divine artifact. Because when the divine artifact slays,
it kills them. Yeah,
the immortal die. The reincarnation doesn't happen. And he uses manipulation, like in order to recruit the current Blue Ranger. It is implied that he roughed up the previous Blue Ranger and hospitalized him to be able to get the new Blue Ranger as the Blue Ranger. Yeah. And by Blue Ranger, I mean Blue Keeper, because they're not Rangers, they're Keepers.
It is so hard to not say Ranger.
You know what? I think anyone watching it is going to see the parallels.
Oh, it's obvious, yeah.
Red is the Keepers are clearly not the good guys, and Red is another one who just gives off the big bad final boss vibes as a whole.
We don't get insight on all of them.
No,
I feel like
they might.
there's got to be a good one somewhere.
Well, let's talk about the Pink Ranger for a moment. Hibiki's older sister.
Yeah. And wasn't that a surprise, by the way?
Yeah, because apparently she's using some sort of prosthetics to walk, and I'm pretty sure Hibiki doesn't know.
I don't think Hibiki knows that.
It definitely caught Dee off. It definitely caught Dee off guard when she ran into him when he was pretending to be Hibiki.
Hibiki didn't even warn. That's the biggest thing. Hibiki gave him no warning on anything. He was just like, "Yeah, go be me. That's fine." And suddenly he's like trying to walk around, trying to figure out who all these people are, and he runs right into Hibiki's sister. I'm like, why wouldn't you warn the guy impersonating you that your sister's somewhere nearby?
Yeah, or why wouldn't you warn that there's Double X, an alien Double X is living in the closet? Talk to us about Double X.
Hibiki was freaking hiding a duster in his closet. Somehow a female fighter, I don't know, doesn't tell you like how long she's been there or anything. He's just keeping her in his closet, and he gives Dee no warning that she's there.
Yeah, no warning whatsoever.
It's just, why wouldn't you tell him?
Kind of makes you feel like Hibiki has a little bit of an agenda going on other than just purifying the Dragon Keepers too, right?
I mean, right. He's maybe a fetish, maybe a duster fetish. I don't know.
Or maybe he's the BBEG. Like,
I don't know. Of all the people, I mean, I feel like there's one that they're pointing at that it could just be a throw-off. I don't think it's Hibiki, though.
Who knows?
Who knows?
It's one season
one
out.
season.
Like, and this is clearly going to be going, I would say, minimum 5 seasons.
Maybe. I mean, this the way this series worked out, I might actually like try to dig up some of the manga. Like, I really enjoyed it, to be honest.
Well, is it based on a manga?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, so, and
Shonen.
once Double X gets a chance to join a side again, well, let's just rip the Band-Aid off here. We already mentioned the boss monsters come back. Talk to us about the one boss monster that returns.
It's insane how much stronger the boss monsters are compared to the fighters. It's insane.
With the exception of the Keepers.
But okay, I meant fighters as in the things, the dusters.
Oh, yeah.
The power levels just, they're not even on the same, like, universe, it seems. So, Patrolla is a boss monster. I can't even remember all the different things this guy can do.
The only one that we know that's still alive is Patrollus.
Yeah.
You have that side. You have the side of the Keepers. You have the side of Yumiko, who clearly is doing something on her own.
Got something going on.
And obviously Hibiki is trying to do the whole thing where he's reforming the whole thing. So you have that side there. And you have people who are literally just in it for themselves. And then you have Fighter D. And one of the things that it seems like a side all to himself because he doesn't like the boss monsters.
No.
He's like...
He's done with them.
You guys are alive?
Yeah,
you guys abandoned us the
right?
whole time? Like he hates the boss monsters?
Yeah.
Probably as much as he hates the Keepers.
I know, which is understandable. They just abandoned them for 13 years. I would have no love for that.
And he actually came to the conclusion that he can't defeat the Keepers before he defeats the boss monsters. Because at the end of the day, the boss monsters pose a threat to the ones that he wants to save, because this villain has learned the power of friendship.
Power of friendship?
Like, talk to us about villain protagonist power of friendship.
I love this. I don't know if I've seen this before. It's so great. He just, okay, so he's thrown in as a cadet. They're colorless cadets. They don't align themselves with anyone, and eventually they just hope to get in the good graces of one of the Keepers. Some of these guys are absolute jerks, and some of them are, like, sweet, some of them are great. It's an interesting combo, bunch of different personality types, but the thing is, even the jerk of the group that, like, really, him and Hibiki, like, really go at it, even D eventually, like, warms up to, in a respectful way, not in a we're friends and chums way, but, like, in a I would fight with this guy way.
But yeah, no, they were pitted against each other in competitions, and you think that it was presented as if they were working together, but there was only prize for one of them at the end. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like, in order to advance from cadet to be able to potential recruit, they have to learn to turn on each other. So they're being pit against each other without them realizing it. But when everything came down to it, and Patrolus was attacking the base in the middle of the exam and everything, and he was taking people out left and right. These cadets all rallied around D and around each other, and you have a really special moment where they're battling against Patrola together, and it's a really great battle, and I don't want to talk too much about it, but you really see that D has become someone who others can rally around and who others can appreciate, and he's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not going to eliminate the humans. I'm not going to eliminate the fighters. I'm going to keep the people around that I want to keep around.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's still a villain. Like, that needs to be clear. He's still a villain. He wants to basically take out everyone who he doesn't want around.
Yep.
And he still is an enemy of the Dragon Keepers, and he's
still an enemy of the boss
recklessly
monsters.
an enemy of the boss monsters, and he's getting used by some and using others. But at the end of the day, he's kind of like, I just want what's good for me. Anything else you want to say about that end scene without giving up too much?
Without giving up too much. It's a great end of the first season episode.
It really is.
It really just...
It ends so well.
It ended so great. And I can't wait. I don't know when season 2 comes out, but I cannot wait for season 2.
Yeah. There was a point in time when I thought that it was a little complicated, but then when I gave those episodes a rewatch, it's like, no, that actually flows well.
It actually works.
So there was just enough to make you, to get you to start thinking while you were watching it, but yet still enough. It was a nice blend of conspiracy, action, and humor. It was a very well blended show as a whole, even including, let's just take 2 minutes or a half minute to talk about the opening theme song and the closing theme song.
Wait. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
The whole dance scene, there, and D looks so awful in the ending dance scene, and the
beautiful.
Keepers and the other fighters are all dancing. Yeah, the Keepers and the other fighters, they're all dancing kind of perfectly with their little choreography, and D's just messing everything up. And the opening song, it's just so perfect. The great, imagery. Yeah. It illustrates the story without you realizing it's illustrating the story. So it's just kind of amazing as a whole. Once again, we looked at this unique world of Go-Go Loser Ranger with all the different aspects of with the alien invasion, the action, the comedy, and even the conspiracy. We then got a better look at our fighter D and basically his mission, what he's trying to accomplish. Afterwards, we went into some of the different organizations and factions that are all vying for power or control in some way, really kind of setting up a who's who knows what's going on as far as who the final boss is going to be. Yeah. Maybe there's 5 final bosses that all get battled at the same time for different factions.
I mean, that'd be interesting.
Would be pretty cool. And then finally, we just took a little bit at the end and saw the development of Fighter D as he goes through things with the other cadets. Any final thing that you want to say about this, Sarah?
I mean, nothing really. I loved it. I think I put this number 2 when we were doing the top.
No, you put this number 5.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Either way, the fact that it made my list, I loved it. It was so good.
Oh no, you put it number 4. We both put it number 4.
We both put it number 4. Okay.
Yep.
Either way, I enjoyed it. I hope whoever's listening, I hope you guys give it a watch. I loved it. I really just did.
Yeah, no, absolutely amazing. The pacing was really good. It wasn't as, I guess it's not as deep as some of the other ones that we've covered,
that's
but
fair.
It was just really fun. It was really entertaining, and it really has me looking forward to season 2.
For sure.
So if you like what you heard today, make sure you listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you stream your podcast. Listen to all of our J-Mill for Real podcasts, and hit us up on social media, subscribe, and follow. Once again, this was Exploring Anime with Friends. Let's explore together. And now, for a word from our sponsors. Bin Buster. Live from YouTube, it's Tuesday night, the call sign of the Bin Buster YouTube channel. Once you hear this, you know you're about to embark on a journey through pop culture, movies, comics, and more. Buckle up and enjoy the ride every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. EST. Poppin' Cinema with JoeMama and friends. Showcasing the power of cinema, join JoeMama as he introduces different friends each week to a movie they have not seen before. popping their cinematic cherry as they talk about the movie they just watched every Tuesday at midnight.